Good morning, everybody. I actually have a late morning today. I was a little bit lazy with getting started. I have actually a lot of things I need to do. And the first thing I'm going to do today is see if I have any potatoes that are ready. These plant beds, you can see this has been dying back. I should have probably gone ahead and looked for potatoes more recently than this, but we had a storm coming up the East Coast and it had just been raining, hadn't come out here. But as you can see, even with this plant right here, this thing has sort of died back. I also have this other bed. I'll just turn it around here. These are still growing, so these aren't ready, but I did have some that seem to have died back in this area. So I'm going to check if there's any potatoes there too. Some of the other things that I need to go ahead and do is I have, let me just flip this around here. I have some other plants that I want to go ahead and harvest. Well, they're not really harvesting. I was trying to grow some pineapple plants with the tops from my pineapples. They just did not do very well at all. But I do have some green onions I want to harvest. You can see some of them are starting to just fall over because they're getting so long. And I had also gone ahead and planted some lemon seeds. So these are just Eureka lemon plants. So I want to go ahead and get ready to pull them out, put them into a pot so I can move them in for the winter. I just noticed I was talking about those pineapple plants that are down there, but look at this one. This is actually done beautifully. I haven't noticed it. So I need to actually go ahead and repot this into a pot. And I will leave this out on my deck for probably the next week or so, right before our frost start coming in. And I'm in region 7, so it won't last outside. But actually, this is beautiful. So I'm really pleased with that. I don't know what happened to those other ones over there. But I do need to go ahead and get these lemon plants. And if I'm correct, this one here back here should be an avocado plant. I had started it from seed. It had gotten a little sprout on it. And I said, well, let me move it out here for a little while because I've been putting a lot of nutrients into these beds here with just scraps. And because I have scraps in here, I inadvertently went ahead and grew this tomato plant. And I am, again, going to save this little guy here, pot it, and bring it in for the winter and see if I can grow this throughout the winter to have fresh tomatoes. So putting in your scraps, you might get a little bit of surprise, things that you're not expecting here. I don't even know what this is. I don't remember. I think this is just some type of grass because I almost thought it was some chives, but I don't think, oh, I don't know. It might be. I don't remember growing any chives, but again, you put scraps in your garden, you just don't know what's coming up. In fact, I'm not even sure what this is. So this might have to get a little bit bigger to find out if this is anything that I can use. But that's what I am planning to do today is get some of these things out. I've already started my food prep for the week. And I will also hopefully finally get to my I Harvest garden to show you what that's all about. The other thing I do need to do is sort of go to the big garden. As you see, it's getting all overgrown at this point. But about a week ago, I saw some tomatoes still growing out there. So I want to go check that. And you probably can't see it, but way out there, I see some goldenrod is still growing. So I think I want to try to, and again, you still can't zoom in too great with the just the iPhone camera, but I want to go ahead and also harvest some of that that's out there. There's some over here too, right about there. So I want to go ahead and harvest that. And I want to actually try putting it in some apple cider vinegar. So since I'm not really sure what I'm getting today as far as my and I know this this is a little bit crazy the way that I'm moving it. I'm not really sure what kind of harvest I'm going to have today for potatoes. I have bought both my little collection basket, which I'll usually go into the garden with, or things like my tomato. I don't even know where I got this from, but it's really cute. Oh, you know what? I bet you I got it from one of my favorite stores is Aldi. They have really cool things, and I bought this a couple years ago. So you can actually get your produce, go ahead and pick from the garden harvest, and then it's a colander as well. So you can rinse it right in this container. And then I also have my milk crate here. So I'm not sure what we have going on. So we will find out what our harvest looks like today and obviously use the correct container or the best container for. I am not usually a person that worries about getting my hands dirty, but because I have some other things I need to do today, I'm going to use the assistance of this. I did not bring any gloves, but I figured, this would be at least the best thing to go ahead and start off with. So it's funny, as I'm looking here, you cannot probably see it from your angle, but there is actually a potato sticking out here. And I'm not really sure if it's going to be the best potato. So we have that right here, but we're going to go ahead and try it out, pick it out, pluck it, harvest it, whatever you want to call it, and see what we come up with. So let's see what we got. Oh, okay, so this one's not too bad. And it's so funny when you get potatoes, grow potatoes, they have these cute little, I would say their own character when you're not getting them necessarily store bought and perfect. So this actually has a little bit of green on it, but hey, we're going to keep it anyway. So let's see what else we got. And you know what? At some point, I might end up using my hands because they're easier to actually feel for potatoes. So here we go. Now, I'm not going to keep you on this entire video because I might be here for a while. I just want to take you through some of the things that I'm doing today. Now, this little guy, look, he's so little, but he's actually starting to bud again or sprout again. So I might put him back in here. I'm going to leave him to the side for the moment, but it's almost like when you do gardening, especially for potatoes, if you think about your childhood, if you ever went Easter egg hunting, it's almost like that. You're basically looking for Easter eggs, but these are potatoes. This is the grown version of Easter egg hunting. This one's actually starting to sprout again. So I'm going to save this guy and put him back in there. So I will bring you through the rest of my day today, or through parts of my day, maybe not the entire day. I'll let you see what I'm doing and see if there's anything that is of interest to you that you might be able to learn, or you may be able to teach me by putting those things in the comments. So until we get to our next session, I will leave you at this point and come back soon. So I also decided to go ahead and pick these dandelion leaves. I'm going to actually make a salad, I think, and just add just a little extra nutritional value. Obviously, you have to take off all the roots and clean them off. But if you haven't, been aware, you can make different things with dandelion. We're always known to go ahead and spray to get rid of them, their weed. But if you can eat them, why not, right? So you can obviously eat the leaves. And a lot of times you even see in spring salads that you buy, it'll say you have dandelion leaves in there. For some reason, these are starting to wilt a little bit, you can see. So I want to get them into washed and in the cold fridge. But my harvest was not too bad. If you can see here, I ended up getting this sized bucket or basket, colander, rinse thing, potatoes, all different sizes, but of course we all come in different sizes, so does it really matter? Nope, we will eat them as well. My grandson actually came out and helped me to harvest the green onion, and we've kept part of it there just so we can go ahead and keep those coming, growing, and harvesting. So look at this one, is like super, super long, if you could see that. And I have some tomatoes. I have some cucumbers. I got about 3 cucumbers that came out. This one's a little bit yellow, so this may not be great, but the other ones were pretty good. These are actually not the cucumbers I intended to plant, but hey, it's still all good. I have tomatoes that are coming off. Of course, this looks a little rough, but you just cut those off and use the good parts of it. I have these nice sized bell peppers that have been coming off. I also have these Italian peppers as well. So my little harvest haul, I don't think is really too bad. Hopefully you can see all of that. And so now I'm going to go ahead and clean this all off, get this prepped for food. I don't know what I'm going to make with the onions today yet, but I'm going to either go ahead and wash them and put them in the fridge so that they stay for a little while, or I'm going to make something out of them. for the potatoes. I know that you can cure them just so that they develop a thicker skin so they last longer, but potatoes don't last very long in my house. So we'll probably be eating them over the next couple of days. And I still have to go and plant or repot those other plants I was telling you about. So I still have lots to do, so I don't want to keep on talking. You see, I probably got some dirt on my head because I started using my hands for my potatoes. Again, maybe it's a little bit fun just to go ahead and get your hands dirty at times. So let me go ahead and get these inside, and I will see you at the next whatever I'm doing, whether I'm repotting or I'm doing the iHarvest garden. I don't know, but you'll see me in the next couple of clips. So I've done my little harvest. I cleaned all my vegetables. I went ahead and gathered some goldenrod. And now I've gone ahead and taken that tomato plant that you saw in my raised garden, and I'm going to go ahead and pot it. Now I had gone ahead and purchased this item here, and I'm going to flip over my screen so you can see it from Amazon. And it's actually pretty cool because it has like a built-in trellis, and it also has these it's self-watering. So you know, obviously the water's that's down here, but if it gets too full, you can take these out and it will allow you to drain it some. But the reason why I got it is because number one, it's on wheels, so I can bring them out when the summer is, you know, or the weather is nice again, spring, summertime, and then I can roll it right into my house, and I have it on my deck, so it makes it nice and easy. Now, what I do have is this already let out because we had a lot of rain with the storms that had just came recently, and so the rain was obviously included. So I did try to plant some tomatoes here. I'm trying to do a practice I saw with the Mindful Gardener. And what he basically did was he went ahead and took his tomato plants and he tops them off right where the I guess the starting leaves are. I think that's what they're called, those new growth leaves. And I put them out here, and unfortunately the neighbor's cats came and decided to eat them. So we're gonna take this, and instead of it being what was my black purple cherry tomatoes, we're going to put this beautiful tomato plant that decided to grow from my scraps in my raised garden, and we're going to plant it and try to keep that through the winter time in the house. So the weather's actually really nice. It's, I don't know, about 78 degrees. I think it's going to reach in the 80s today. And as you can see, you may be able to hear my pool is not covered, and it is October the 1st. So a lot of people go ahead and close up their pools Labor Day weekend or right after Labor Day weekend. However, we don't. We wait until October because you get those nice warm months in September and sometimes in October. And this week is supposed to be the 8th. So we're hoping to get one more swim out, and then we'll go ahead and probably next weekend. But anyway, you can see this has like a trellising system here, which is great. And it does get, I think it's like, I don't know, 5 feet or something like that, which should be good for this tomato plant. And I have a set of, I don't know, my husband made up a composting mix. Oops, and I'm making a mess here. It has some perlite in it, but it also has things like bone meal. Oh, I'm still making a mess. And things like that. Other things, I don't know. He had made up this mixture with fish, I don't know, fish meal or some type of fish stuff, and worm castings, and bone meal for the calcium. So it's definitely very good as far as the nutrients goes in that mix. And then also I just basically went as deep as I could around this plant. So I actually have to fill in my raised garden with some more soil. And I didn't want to break up too much of the roots to make it as healthy and hopefully transplant as best as possible. So I took as much of it as I'm going to put it in this pot, and we will go ahead and see how that works out over the winter. Obviously, I'll have to give you updates since, you know, this video will not be one that I'm recording throughout the winter. I'm just trying to capture some things that I'm doing for today. So anyway, I will go ahead and get this potted. I plan to leave this out on my deck at least for another week or so before it gets real cold, and then try to bring it indoors so that it acclimates to, from going from the warmth to cooling down to indoors. But, because the house would be pretty warm, I don't want it to be, it too much of a shock. So hopefully doing it that way will go ahead and acclimate it just like you would do when you are starting seedlings and bringing them outdoors. You want to acclimate it to the weather. So I'm trying to do it in a reverse order, just bringing it from outdoors to indoors. So this is what I'm going to work on now. And then later on, I am still hoping to get to my OI harvest, but I've been saying that at least in a couple of videos. So we'll see where the day takes us. But so far, this is where I'm at. And until the next clip, here we go. So I was going to wait until I got to the iHarvest part of it, but I figured I'll bring you out here and show you how I'm going to dig up the pineapple plant and the lemon. And I think I had misspoke or misidentified earlier. I think my avocado tree is actually right here, because I looked at this one here that's kind of alone. And if you can see it through that pineapple plant. And I think that's a lemon tree. So what I've done is I've gone ahead and prepared some planters and pots. And for the ones that are not self-watering, then I have these little, I don't know, duckies, chicks, whatever, watering chicks. They have different animals. They have, I think, frogs and I don't know, maybe some other kind of animals, but they're actually pretty convenient. And for me, I'm going to start off with my avocado plant. And once I pull it up, I should be able to identify, because it should still have that big fat pit. So I'm going to try to go as deep as possible. And this is all a learning experience for me, because this is the first time that I'm doing all of it. And interestingly enough, it is not. So I don't know what this little plant is. I'm going to actually put it back in the soil and see if it gets a little bit bigger, because I'm not sure what it is. Maybe I didn't plant that. Maybe it discovered itself. So not sure if that's how that's gonna do, since I already kind of uprooted it, but we will figure it out. So let me see if this is my avocado plant. And it is not. So somewhere in here is my avocado plant. I believe this is just another lemon tree. So I am going to switch out this pot, because that was intended for my avocado plant. And I'm going to pull out this pot because it's a little bit larger. And I'm going to basically just put all of my lemon plants in here, which will obviously become trees. So I'm actually going to take this little ducky out, pour out some of this soil so I can create sort of a deep pocket, and dig these guys out here. Oh, I think they kind of got a little bit deep here, which that's not a bad thing. It's just eventually, obviously, I'm going to have to get a bigger pot. So let me redo this. I'm going to actually take out more dirt than I anticipated. Plant them. And then fill them up, because I think they're going to need. And it's interesting because I don't know, I haven't studied, but it almost seems like it might have more of a taproot system for this, which means that they like to go deep. So I definitely over time will need to create or put it in a larger pot. We are just going to take that whole group of lemon plants. I'm going to separate them a little bit, but I don't really care if they're still sort of clumped together, since I will be putting them in another pot probably over, I don't know, the next couple of months. These are probably about, let's see what we're in October. These are probably about 2 months old. So this was me just taking some seeds that I got from the grocery store, the Eureka lemons, just common lemons. And what I actually did was I took the seeds and I put them in a wet paper towel, put them in a Ziploc bag, put them in the windowsill, and I waited for them to sprout. And then once they sprouted, I went ahead and converted them over here, hoping that the sun would kind of give it a big boost as far as growing, which I think they have. I don't know how long it usually takes for them to get to this level. A little bit bitten up by bugs, so one of the things that I'm hoping you can share with me is if you are organic gardener, if you do have indoor plants, what kind of insecticide do you use that is really organic? Now, I've read like you can sprinkle, I believe, cinnamon on your soil to help with things like fruit flies, which I don't know if everybody else is having a problem. I've talked to some other people and they seem to be having a problem too with fruit flies this year. I even bought those little SIBO contraptions that has the blue light. Yeah, it's not doing anything. I think I might have three, and I went ahead and plugged it in maybe about 4 or 5 days ago. And I don't know where they're hiding out, but what happens is when I go ahead and cut open a lemon, and just for experiment purposes, I kind of just leave it out, the cut lemon, after I've used it, just to see if I have any more fruit flies. And yeah, still have them. So I'm not quite sure what to do about them. Of course, I've done all the other tricks, using the apple cider vinegar, you catch some, but the majority of them I do not know. I don't even know where they're hiding out. So if you guys have any suggestions, let me know. So I'm going to definitely go ahead and do this a little bit better once I get my other plants in their pots. This one, roots are kind of sticking out there. And no, I'm not a professional gardener. So this is what we're going with. So we got our lemon trees. Well, they're still plants right now, but will be lemon trees planted. And I don't know what I'm going to do with my future lemon seeds. Um, this is just kind of just something I wanted to try out, see how it works out. If I continue to grow it just because it's kind of fun, I might just go ahead and maybe give it to some friends and family. Let them have a little bit of citrus in their life as well, that they can grow indoors and maybe start a trend where people become a little bit more self-sufficient. That's where I'm trying to get to. I definitely am not totally self-sufficient. If you saw my potato haul, it's not like I get that potato haul every day or every week. So I want to get to that point where I can be self-sufficient. And just looking at a lot of the waste that we as humans create, one of them being the produce packaging. I mean, if you think about it, with the bag of potatoes, that plastic bag, and how many people buy potatoes, or how many potato bags are put together, and all that goes into landfill and not really good. So if we could be self-sufficient for our own potatoes, we have no need for the plastic. So it's less waste, right? All right. Again, don't know what I'm doing, but we're going to try to dig this pineapple plant up, kind of go as deep as possible, again, because I don't want to disturb any of the roots that it's set. Don't know how deep pineapple will go. And I'm going to use my hands. I definitely like using hands a lot because I can really get down and feel. And this joker seems like it has a good root system. That's probably why it's doing so well. And again, this was just created from, oh, they go laterally too, I feel. Oh my goodness. Look at that guy. So all of that, all those roots, he was just going everywhere. So I think I have to take some more soil out of this pot. Probably the majority of it, honestly. Put him in here, and then I'll fill him up with the soil that I just poured out. Now this one is a self-watering one. So obviously before I take it in the house, I'm going to clean it up. But, as I've been getting older, or like I say, more mature, I'm trying to do things that are smarter and not harder. I think when we're all young, we do some stupid stuff, or, we buy the newest contraption that, I don't know, looks neat, looks pretty. Maybe the function isn't as good as what it could be. So as I've gotten more mature, I'm going to say not older, but more mature, I'm using things like these self-watering plants or pots. Not a good indoor house mom, I guess you can say. So anything that makes it easier for my life, just from being busy and can help me to keep my plants healthy, that's what I'm going to do. So you can see here, just putting my pineapple plant together. And what I'm doing, I mentioned before, is just putting all these plants up onto my deck, getting them ready to, obviously the next week or so is still going to be warm, but slowly as it gets cold, I want to start bringing them indoors so they get used to the indoor temperatures as well. So another test done. Got all my plants converted over. I might still try to dig into this raised garden to see if I can find my avocado plant. If not, I guess I will have to try again. So, got this test done, and we will see you at the next, I don't know if you want to say the clip or the next task, but I will see you soon. All right, so this is my last task of the day that I'm going to show you because I have other things I have to do. I have to prepare dinner and get my food prep finished. I had already started my steaming some potatoes so that I can throw them into the refrigerator, and I can take them out throughout the week if I want to make, say, French fries or smashed potatoes or roasted potatoes. So they're all ready to go. But I still have to meal prep my salad that I talked about making and things like that. But wanted to show you real quick the IG Works iHarvest. I can do another video to give you more details about it, but this will be the simplest indoor gardening that you can think of. So basically you come with this whole set, you come with these baskets, and the first setup, it gives you everything you need. We did go ahead and bump it up with a couple other pumps to just get the nutrients rolling. They give you this nutrients, and you can buy it either through their company or just on Amazon. Same thing with these rotor, I want to say rotor rooter, but it's rapid rooter pod things. They're made out of just different types of like soil and sphagnum moss and binder, peat moss, and then it has like a foam binder to keep it all together. So I'm just going to quickly show you how we would go ahead and plant this for an indoor harvest. And I have just purchased some seeds from offline. You can see some of these packages are open. I have done this before. You also notice I have this netting up there, and that is really for me to grow cucumbers. I've tried this a couple of times. It has not been successful. I'm going to try it one more time in here. And if not, then maybe I can use the pot that I'm using for my tomato I showed you earlier. And since it has a trellis, it might be easy to grow the vines up that way with the cucumber. But I am using, let's see if I have it here in front of me. It's the Albea kind, so it doesn't need any pollination. And of course, I can't find it, but I do have it somewhere around here that I wanted to grow. Actually, I have it right here. So it's this kind. And just from my experience learning it, you really need to trim them, make sure you take off the suckers, take off the male flowers. And those are some of the things that I wasn't doing the first couple of times. So let me just show you real quick how easy this is. I have a pot. I have my rapid rooter. I go ahead and just basically pop one of these in here. So it looks like this, and it has the hole. It might be hard, but there's a hole right there. Go ahead and pop it in here. And I have mapped out what I'm growing. So I'm growing kale, romaine lettuce. Like I said, I'm going to try the cucumbers again. I'm going to put those in the two corners here and have it grow up onto that netting. Spinach, collards. Now the collards that I've grown out of this, I really do like, because they're smaller leaves and they're really tender, are really sweet. And I've made these into wraps, so they're perfect, like maybe larger than a hand size. Of course, you can cut them smaller, wait till they get bigger, things like that. But I would make like wraps, like veggie wraps, and they were absolutely delicious. So I got some butter crunch lettuce, some kale, some black seeded lettuce. I think I already told you romaine. So I've mapped out what I'm growing in each of these pods, and they're not going to be all filled at the same time. So I'm going to do some of them today, and I'm going to wait about a month so I can kind of have like a cycle of crops that are ready to go. Now, one of the things I did learn from this with the original pots that came with it, they were black and they didn't have as much space as far as the holes go. And what happens is you have these bright LED lights that
replicates the sun, and algae would grow, algae and mold would grow on it. But what they have done is they've recreated these pots. They've created these little nodules right there that are like the stabilizers. With the old pots, you had to use these clips. So as your plants, if you were doing like tomatoes, if they got too big, they would start to pull these pots out. But with these new revised pots, they have the little stabilizers right in there. So you just put it in there and then you twist it so that way it can stay stabilized. And then with these pots, with the old ones, I told you that algae and mold would grow on the top over time and you have to scrape them off and stuff. So I would take aluminum and I would cut them to the size of the hole and just wrap it around there, except for the part where the plant was. Just put like a little slit in aluminum so that the plant could go ahead and still grow through it. But here they've actually created these covers, which I'm really excited for it. So basically you would go ahead and there's like little holes here. So you would obviously line up the holes and twist it. And then you can't really get any algae. I guess you could get a little bit here, but as your plants are getting bigger, they're going to sort of cover this area. So it's going to be a very low amount of light that can reach that area. So yeah, I kind of like these pots that they've revised. And the easiest thing, like I said, this is so easy. If you have ever done any type of hydroponics, then this really is the same thing. So you just go ahead and take your seed. So I've got my seed here. This is the cucumber one. You would put it right into that hole. So I'm just gonna, and usually I'll take like a pencil if it's a smaller seed, and I'll go ahead and just gently push it into it. So you just put it into that hole, and then you would put it into the slot that you want. I actually had a slot down here at the bottom open, which is not really going to be my cucumber plant, but basically I go ahead and look for my little stabilizer knob there. I line it up. Once I get it in there, and I just twist. Now, obviously, there's going to need to have the water source. So there's water that's down in here. And the best way that you can get water that I have found, and it also works great for my fish tank when I'm trying to clean it, to either clean it for obviously the fish tank has to be cleaned every so often, and to put water back in, is this mechanism. And it's just basically this long hose that you have here, and it has this contraption that you basically go ahead and put onto your faucet. And they do come with different types of contraptions depending on what kind of faucet you have. So we had the one that fits our faucet, and basically we just go ahead and screw it onto the faucet head. This pops back in here, and then when you turn on your water, depending on if you're trying to suck the water up or if you're trying to have it flow into, like for instance, this would be putting water in, then you just have this little turn lever here so you can, show which way you want it to go. So basically, that's what I'm going to finish up today with, is planting my lettuces, my kales, my collards, my couple of cucumber plants to see how it does this time. And I am going to close today's video because this is everything I'm doing to prepare for the winter months coming in, so we can also have hopefully fresh produce that are garden quality. I know I have bought some tomatoes recently from the store. They have no flavor compared to garden grown food. So I'm hoping to be able to do those things indoors. I've got my oh, I did find my avocado plant too. I don't know what happened. It had like a little stem that was grown when I planted it, but I don't know what happened to the stem. The stem is gone, but the roots really still looks good on the pit. So I had put it into the pot, and we'll see what happens. I mean, I'm going to have a lot of lights in this room with the iHarvest going. I'm probably going to get my AeroGarden going again with my herbs. So I have herbs throughout the winter as well. But this is what I'm doing to prepare for winter gardening indoors. So hopefully this was informative. If you want more information about the IG Works iHarvest Garden, I will go ahead and provide the information below. You can obviously also go ahead and create your own hydroponic system. I just like the footprint, all the components that came with it, the trellising that also comes with it. I did add these little carabiner clips to help with when I had like the tomato plants in there. I wasn't a fan of tomato plants because they really just shot up, and I had to plant them the second time, plant them at the bottom, and they were still way up touching my ceiling. They were so large. So what had happened is during the springtime, when it was time to plant in the outdoor garden, we took that tomato plant out. And it did go through a little bit of a shock because remember, this saw, other than that little bit of that rapid rooter sphagnum moss soil, mixture thing, it's all water and nutrients. Like I said, it comes with the nutrients with it. And then of course you have to replenish it as you use it and, cycle out your plants. But we planted it outdoors and we thought that it was a goner because I guess it was just going through a major shock. And then it actually ended up producing towards the end of the season. So we kept our garden open longer. And we had, I don't know, I would say probably still into November, we had tomatoes coming off of that plant. Hopefully over the next month, the rest of my outdoor tomatoes that I have now, they're all pretty large. They're the right size. I'm just ready, waiting for them to color. So I'm hoping over the next couple of weeks that we'll be able to take that garden down. I think we're going to try a different design next year. My husband and I have been talking about it, different techniques, because I want to have more produce in that section, which I think we're using too much space, wasted space, that we can make things a little bit closer using some of the techniques like the trellising system, like the Mindful Gardener uses, or I've seen some other videos where they'll actually create like their tomato plants going over an arch, and they'll just go ahead and clip them to train it over the arch. And they have in their arch like really large openings, so the tomatoes just hang down into the openings, so you just walk under that tunnel at that point when it's all overgrown tunnel of tomato plants, and you can just pluck from there. So I'm thinking about that as well. Of course, that's next year, so you have to keep watching these videos to see what comes up next. But so anyway, that is my day. I am done with all my gardening stuff, transplanting my plants from my raised garden into pots so I can prepare to bring them in the next couple of weeks, starting up my iHarvest so that they will be ready to go this winter as well, so we can have fresh produce. And so yeah, so I'm happy about today's progress. I feel like I got everything done. And if you can provide any type of insight again about me bringing those plants in and possibly having some insects in there, excuse me, got animals here, I guess, in there. Organic ways to go ahead and get rid of pests before I bring them in, because I really don't, like I said, I'm already fighting with fruit flies right now. So if you have any suggestions of what I can do to prepare them from coming in with insects, please let me know. I would greatly appreciate it. And until next time, I wanted to say, make sure that you are looking at life in a way where it creates adventures. And be kind. Start with the small. Starting with kindness is always helpful. So, all right, you guys have a great rest of the day, and I will talk to you in the next video.